Hey guys, welcome. Before we jump into tonight's episode of the D20 Misfits, we want to do a brief talk with me and Shy here about our wonderful trip at Dragon Thrones. Now, for those you don't know, Dragon Thrones is a massive, immersive LARP Dungeons & Dragons game. Best way I can describe it, and it is crazy. I know we were supposed to do a lot of stuff down the road of, different videos, talking with some of the stuff, getting screenshots, but listen, it was just so jam-packed weekend. We totally forgot everything. So it happens, lack of sleep, shit happens.
Don't worry, we'll have pictures from our lovely photographer Keith. Does an amazing job. So Keith, if you see this video, or when you see this video, you do a lovely job as always. You'll have some videos from other players as well, so we'll make sure to get those in there and give a little shout out to them. They did some really good ones with some of the theatrics that some of the people did for singing and dancing, pageantry, but there's a lot of pictures to delve in, so we'll get something, if not on a video, we'll have it on the page just so you guys can kind of like go through yourselves.
Yeah, once we get the clip, we'll share that link into our Facebook, that way you guys can all see it. But just to put it down, Dragon Thrones is a two-part event. They do one in the winter called the Tranquility, and then the one in the summer called the Ascension. The Tranquility is more story-based, so it's more slow in. There's not a lot of interaction as far as 5e goes. The Ascension is strongly 5e, and it is more war than it is anything else. Hence the Ascension, you ascend. There are 10 different houses.
We got Vermithrax.
Yep.
We have Zaharia, Elfaria, Caricom, Ardmore, Wyndham. There's
Cylindria.
Cylindria, yes. There's Cylindria.
Golf.
The Golf Armada, which kind of gets
Arcadia Dominion.
We have one more.
Lancaster.
Lancaster. And the one that doesn't really show up a lot, there's technically another house. They are known as the Guild.
Not so much a house, it's a guild.
It's a guild, it's a collective. And another group that you'll see that doesn't, they are from different houses, but a group that clusters together as much as the guild does is the Golden House, the Golden Court, elevated up essentially. One from each house, I believe. So they're like the higher of the high, almost in a celestial, immortal. But as he said with Tranquility, the houses pretty much come together. In Tranquility, they come together, there's no war, there should be no fighting. It's for everyone to get together, tell stories, and kingdoms understand one another. Whereas in Ascension is factions are against one another. They're always finding something to proclaim.
Factions.
Well, they do have factions within the houses, though.
Yes, but there are different things.
True.
But the main thing is, with this one is the Ascension. There are many different paths to do, which is pretty much different quest lines to complete. And you will get favor. Favor is all tallied up at the end, kind of like the Harry Potter and the House Cup type ordeals. You earn points as you go up, and that goes to the overall goal of everything. Now, beyond this, you can tell by the orange hair, and goddamn, right there.
We are the Caricom.
We are from Caricom. I used to be a Thunderhead in the winter. I went down a path to become a Paladin at the end for the summer event, the Ascension. A lot of fun stuff. Became the first ever in the house, because each house has selected classes that can only be within that house. But yes, I played Grievous. I was a Thunderhead who became Paladin, and Shy played...
My name was Corveda, otherwise known through many afterwards, just collectively as Core. I was known as an Edge Rider. I can go into the Edge. The Edge was the between the living and the dead. Essentially, I among one or two others around the Caricom Legion were unaffected. Even people in our own kingdom could be affected, and anyone else going in there for a certain allotted time, it could kill them. It's very lethal. Upon like Frank had said, with his becoming a paladin was granted by a wish from the highest of the high, known as the Golden Dragon King, or GDK. He, in the Tranquility, will offer you a wish, as long as it's within reason, so you don't want to like OP a character, he will say no. My character, there during Tranquility, rifts were opening up, bad things were happening to everyone, and I'm the only one that usually can go in and open those. So, upon my wish, I asked to close them. Did not realize upon the Ascension that I could then essentially open teleportations to other planes of existence altogether. So he kind of inadvertently beefed up my character, I guess you could say. It was very wild though. He offers it even in the Ascension. As long as you have something of good nature, he will give you a wish. You ask for it, either for your character. You could even have something, a slight revenge against another player. We've had Tranquility. They had a wish for one of the elves, for whatever reason, I didn't get the details, that when they are around someone, this elf has to call you daddy. Yes. And it's just so slight, but being in character, people have fun with it, they go with it. So this guy was charmed to call everybody daddy.
The whole thing with Dragon Thrones is it does follow 5e rules to a degree. They play heavily on the rule of cool, which is really nice. If it makes sense, put it that way. If it makes sense. If it's something that the character, like me, for instance, my wish, how Shai put it, my wish was to become the first paladin because Kurikon didn't have one. Kurikon lived in the waste, so think of Mad Max. The whole thing was our high ruler, our king of the house, was starting to become a lich, and I wanted to balance that evil by becoming a paladin. And Golden Dragon, or Chris, for people who do not know, he had me, come up with tenets, and then publicize it in front of everybody. So I did. That was winter. In front of during dinner, I stood up in front of everybody with him, and I knelt and I did my tenets of Kurikon, and I was knighted to be the first Kurikon paladin. Now that was a thing, but I used my wish because of that. It's not like, hey, I wish to be, level 20.
Pretty much as he said before, within reason, but sometimes he'll grant a good boon if it has good intention.
Correct. Now, with this last winter, or is this summer, that one.
Words.
That was like 3 days ago. At the end of this, Golden Dragon snapped his fingers and we went into everything faded away, nothing, and all that remains is sitting in pretty much a white room. So, reason being for this was talks of doing a reset. Dragon Thrones just completed their book, so we are going to see that in a couple weeks. You're going to see a full-on 5e system setup of Dragon Thrones with the Dungeon Master Guide, Monster Manual, and Player's Handbook coming out. So that's what that is. Now they're either working on the expansion or working on another book. So hence that is what's happening. Now, before I go, there's a lot of people that do a lot for Dragon Thrones. You have Keith, who's their main photographer and videographer, who does amazing work and captures a lot of details with his camera, stuff that you wouldn't even see. And there's another group that I do want to talk about because they are semi-local, not to us, but they are very local within, where we are. They're like a state up. And I want to talk about Mystic Realms. For those who do not know, Mystic Realms. Okay, you can find them on Facebook. I did message them prior to this recording, and to give them, pretty much a shout out. Now, Anton, one of the lead designers behind Mystic Realms, we had to do a tunnel quest within this. We could sign up to do a tunnel quest, and it was in the basement of that. And what we did is we had boffer swords, very foam swords, or little beanbag type ordeals for spell casting or stuff like that. And they walked you through the stuff, like the rules about, you hit with hitting lightly, and to act the hit. So every time you got hit, it was when you would take a step back to acknowledge the hit was given. Pretty much you had 10 health, and you had to walk through and do it. Now you had people who could heal. Your healers or your spellcasters could heal if need be. They had to do they had to say a 9-syllable phrase to heal. But the people who couldn't heal, who didn't have the spellcasting abilities for that, you could perform first aid. No matter what you did, heal, first aid, it was 1 point was healed from. Heal to you. That's it. But if you were doing first aid, I'm doing first aid, you would lightly touch the person because I am doing first aid 1, first aid 2, first aid 3, first aid 4, first aid 5. That's how long it took to perform first aid to get that along. Now you do have monsters, people dressed up in costumes that have swords that were going away, and I gotta tell you, these guys are fucking amazing.
They were really good.
Those, Anton, by God, show these guys who were there for Dragon Thrones who were working for it. Bravo, guys. The skeletals, the guys who dress with skeletals, I know there were 3 guys that were all down there the whole time, and they were switching in and out of costumes and stuff, but the ones that were the skeletons, or the spiders, what you want to call it, they had a clicker on them, and it just sounded like an actual skeleton walking up to you and stuff like that. And they had swords, and they were going there, and they would help you along the way, like if you were hitting them too, or hey, watch out for that lunge, or whatever. They would do it, and we had a quest. We had to go and recite a spell while they were attacking us to feed them away to close it up.
It was a team game.
It was a team effort. Up to
Everybody had
players.
to stick together. If Frank had to read his, we'd all cover everything else, and once he was done, he would help collectively fight with the next person.
We also had that turn into a big old cluster because everybody started to fight off things, and I just said the whole fucking thing.
Oh, I know. But if the beanbags, the swords weren't your thing, they also did have the bow and arrow and the crossbow with the Nerf darts too. You just had to make sure, obviously, not to aim for the face. Do the best you could. Have fun with it. But if I would like to drum roll on this one, because if you guys go, if you haven't seen the videos on it before, go to dragonthronesgame.com. It will tell you soon that the 2025 January tickets will be out.
No.
So you guys can go and do that.
No. It's under construction right now.
And that's what I'm saying. It's saying coming soon. Tickets are soon. So once they figure out their stuff, give it a few weeks, we'll update you. Once the tickets start coming, they're ready, we'll update you guys on that. But that is the website to go view that, as well as, like he said, you can check out Mystic Games. Bravo to both.
Well, the whole thing with Mystic Games is they are a LARP. They have LARP events constantly in New Jersey. Camp for Guildhall, and they're doing a sci-fi event too for that. Glory of Guildhall is called the event. And what they do is July 12th through the 14th for Guildhall, and July 27th for their sci-fi event. Now they do different things. They have different themes. They do have Dungeons and Dragons type themed with the swords and the spellcast and stuff like that. They also have a Western one. So pretty much you guys have Nerf guns and you're doing that. Sci-fi, don't really know. I'm pretty sure it's the same thing with the swords and the things as far as sci-fi, Star Wars, Star Trek X, stuff like that. But they do countless things. You guys can check them out if you go to Mystic Realms, either on their website or through Facebook. One of the main helpers there, and I love her to death. She was the coolest instructor that I've ever met. Dauntless, my hat goes off to you for being amazing at that, showing us how to play that game, help us understand it very easily, and to be safe about it, because that was their whole thing, was to be safe in this. Now, their LARP events are amazingly cool. I don't really know the price for everything of that, but
I think they said they also do some Renaissance too, Renaissance festivals.
I don't know about that one, but they're amazing. You guys haven't checked it out. I wanted to give them a shout out for it just because their actors were amazing. They took beating after beating with these swords, and trust me, these swords, even though they're foam, they are, you have to, with that and acting constantly, like going through a rapid fire haunted house with group after group after group, with very little break in between, these guys were phenomenal, and troopers going through all this, setting everything up and stuff like that. And they had, it was cool. It was cool. They had spider webs, which was yarn, but if you got stuck with them, it took 2 people to pull it out, to pull you off them, and you had to act like you were actually stuck to it. The acid pools that you had to walk across with these little stepping stones, you fell on it, you got hurt. The little mini spiders or scorpions they had laying around, you had to walk around them, you couldn't attack them or anything, they couldn't hit you because they're just these little, figurines all around. But it was amazing. Now, again, Chris and Evan are coming out with a book for Dragon Thrones. I'm waiting for it to drop on Kickstarter, and I will definitely go and buy a copy. And after our next campaign, I want to do it. I want to do a Dragon Thrones campaign, and maybe when the thing drops, can you text them that the news will be out there in a second?
Yeah.
I do want to try to do a podcast with them, with Chris and Evan, about this, trying to go over the details, why, what's Dragon Thrones really about, to give you guys a more understanding of what it is. The book, why they're doing this, what brought them to do this. The Game Theater, which is the company that Chris and Evan run. Dragon Thrones is just their setting, their campaign. And it is amazing. Like Shai said, if you guys have a chance to check them out, cool. And anybody watching from Dragon Thrones, I miss you already, man. I do. I miss every single goddamn one of you. If you guys are watching this, my Halfarian brothers, the hell, I miss you, Mom and Dad, if you're watching. My
just so you
family.
know,
You know who I am.
I mean, we did mention this about the winter before, but the fun part, and it's very true, as much as I hate to admit it, and I don't hate it because I love the guys of Helfaria, and the men, the women of Helfaria, you guys were amazing. Especially, I love the druid because she did have the dog ears on, the wolf ears on, but when they said that everybody in every house asked Helfaria for a favor, could you help us fight over here? Do we need your help over here? I didn't realize that, and I literally was asked to go find a druid for something, and the very first druid I bumped into was Helfaria. I'm like, alright, screw it. Can you help me? And then I realized when they were done, I was like, that they're not lying. Everybody asked a favor of Helfaria. But if you impress them enough, the Helfarians, which, if you haven't figured it out, and you didn't see it in the winter video yet, Helfarians are Viking, Nordic based. They're human race. They're not Draconian, they're not elves, they are they? No, they're not
they're
anymore.
Human, yes.
Not anymore,
no,
but originally.
they're human. They're human, but they're not human.
Not anymore. What you're talking about, that was Ascension.
No. Okay, so Helfarians, the Viking-esque people.
Mm-hmm.
These guys, yes, are human-based, and there are a lot of barbarians in it. There's some clerics, there's mages, but the main thing is barbarians. But they are all lycanthropes.
Yeah, but that's what happened during the Ascension.
Mm.
That's what I heard.
No, they've always been fucking werewolves.
Oh, okay.
They just
Leave
don't
it
use
out
them. But yeah, like these guys love a challenge. They love fighting,
Their
regardless if it's
drinking.
LARPing. They're listen. If you ever see the goddamn war room, those who've been in Dragon Thrones have seen their war room. Good God, A for one is the coldest in the whole campus, and it is littered with furs. Their whole table is covered, and they have a long ass table, and it is completely covered in fur. And then if you get thirsty, there are countless bottles of mead and wines everywhere.
And possibly, if I'm guessing, because unfortunately, guys, I did not get to see the Hellfire room, but every time I would ask about it, everybody would just look at me and tell me to go. And whenever I tried to go, I got yanked in our place for another to do a mission, so I never really got to go check out Hellfire. I really wanted to, but I'm willing to bet there was maybe one bottle of water somewhere, just one small one.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
Willing to bet maybe just one little one, but even if not, it's fine.
Tanza and Trig, my mom and dad type ordeal who adopted me into Hellfire, and like, listen, I'll see you guys again. And definitely Vorden with his final drop in destroying the big bad of the house villain, sacrificing himself to save everybody. You will forever be immortalized by Kurgan, by me, as a brother. Always, dude, just phenomenal. The whole goddamn thing was phenomenal. Dragon Thrones itself is crazy. Those you haven't checked it out, go check it out. I'm not gonna lie, it is pricey.
It's well worth it. But they do payments. So it's not like you have to pay the installment. It is what, $1,000? Yeah. But they do payments.
For normal player tier, it's about $1,000. Yes, you can do it out in payments if you wish to be a high ruler, which is the tribe leader of the house. That's like 12. And then if you want to be a Golden Court member, it's like 13, 1400. But everything's included, so don't get that crazy. These guys and the game theater do make your characters. They give you the background of them. They give you the names of them, and you
can change your name if you didn't like it.
But you have to build your class on 5e rules, so standard array, and your level 10s, and doing that. If you're a house ruler, you're level 15. If you're a Golden Court member, you're level 20. But yeah, these guys go above and beyond to make your character good, and they take your inputs to help it out.
Think Harry Potter. If a house doesn't really seem your fit after reading everything, you want to be somewhere else, you can ask to be in a different house, unless it is booked, I believe, but they will still try to give a little wiggle room for you guys. They want to make sure the experience is amazing. And even if you don't get the house you originally wanted, all of the houses are amazing. Even if people seem maybe snooty or something, it might be their character. That's cool. But everybody that actually goes there are amazing, caring people, and they will do their best to make you feel at home no matter which house you're in.
It's by default, any player of Far there, and we even had 3 new players for the Kurkons, the Kurkan Legion. 3 new players who have never played Dungeons & Dragons before, who maybe played it way back in the day, like the first edition or AD&D, but not 5e. Some people have, those 3 had no idea what a LARP was, and they were welcomed with open arms from the remaining people who were here from Kurkan. So me, Shai, Skylar, Kira, we were all willing to help these guys out as far as, how their characters went, the ins and outs of how to kind of play Dragon Thrones and, how to act accordingly to it. And like I said, we welcomed these guys with open arms, and they loved it, and they want to come back more. Like they were hooked. And these guys are 50, 60 years old, and they were trooping with us like it was nothing. So yeah, it is a community all with its own, and it's a family too. So Dragon Thrones, you guys have been amazing. Chris, Evan, your team is phenomenal. Don't change anything. All the GMs, Alex.
You guys are phenomenal storytellers. We love you guys.
Alex, John of Halfaria, Joey from Thermodrex. I met you guys more times this Ascension than I did in Winter, And it was really cool to meet you guys, and I'm glad I met you guys. And it's really cool how the stories that were untold, and you guys taking those reins and continue the creative side of running a game, being a GM. So you guys worked your asses off. I love it all. Azrelia was my ally. She was a Thermothrax paladin. Me and her worked on a lot of things together. Kind of developed a new secret faction of all paladins together of every house to be a defense system, kind of like Ultron, but not the bad guy. And
if it's left right.
yeah, well, there's a lot of stuff like that was formed there. So, Azrelia, Audrey, miss you and John already. You guys were phenomenal. Vorden, Curtis, yes, and then Trig and Tanza, always. You know, everybody, Dragon Thrones, Kira, Skylar, Steven, even, Alex. Steven played the villain, so, but
he was a good villain. And he had reason whenever he got there, but if I were to leave my last words for everything before we go ahead and let everybody down, they're trying to bar down the doors, they're ready to play. I know you guys are ready to see what's going to happen next with our D&D session, where it's going to go with the cast and all that, but we'll tell you where it gets there in just a few minutes, so hang on just a moment. My last words for all this, from my experience from coming in as this quite meek character into her own healing and dealing, we did get snapped to a possibly new reality, maybe new characters. Our characters are either no longer there or haven't existed yet. Whatever may come, we're not going to be able to do the Winter Tranquility, but we may be able to do the Summer Ascension next June. But no matter what comes, what house I get into, I don't know about you, but for me, Caracon will always be home, thanks to our new war caller, Kira, or otherwise known as Beneficer, as well as our other compatriots that I've gotten to really know from Winter to Summer and our new people. But seeing as I've gotten to know all the other people from the other houses, and even wherever they may go, I'm content with, honestly, maybe just rolling the dice and seeing where the fates take me next for a new story, a new person, a new home. So, at least from me to you guys, I hope to see some of you at the next Dragon Thrones. And if not, give it some time, perhaps we'll see you there.
Alright, and again, we're just gonna, that was our trip. Next time we go, we're definitely going to do a lot more and take video and stuff like that. Maybe I'll get a GoPro and I'll walk the halls. That way everybody can see what's going on. But definitely Dragon Thrones is a home. Everybody around it is family. And who knows, maybe we'll collab with another group that does want to do a Dragon Thrones D&D campaign setting. So definitely doing that and calling a lot of other people. So be out there, be ready if you're listening, all Dragon Thrones players that I've met. Who knows, maybe an NPC will drop down that is your character. It'd be really cool to have you guys join us for that session and help out.
But thanks anyway to you guys from the game theater. Thank you guys so much for the experiences and many more to come. Can't wait to see what happens. And to everyone else that was there that made us feel at home, thank you so much.
Yep. And we'll see you guys in a little bit while we film our next installment of the D20 Misfits and the Curse of Shadows. Woo. So sit back, relax, and we'll get ready to start the show here in a little bit.
You know what to do.